Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Aitza. I talk about books, fashion, being back in Spain, personal finance, a whole bunch of other things. And today I'm here with a review of Along for a Ride by Mimi Grace. So let's get started. So Along for a Ride is a friends with benefits / love to hate kind of story. I found it, I think because someone tweeted the cover or Amazon had it. It was really cute. I think I spent like $2.99 or $3.99 on it, and I was like, yeah, that's nothing. That's like a sandwich. So I went ahead and got it. Had nothing to lose. I knew nothing about the premise of the book, but just bought it. And there's these two characters, Jolene and, oh my gosh, Jason. Yes, Jolene and Jason. And they're helping Jolene's sister, Nikki, and her husband, Ty, move. And Ty is Jason's best friend. And there's been bad blood between Jolene and Jason because Jolene did something very, very stupid when they first met at the wedding of Nikki and Ty, and he was like, no girl. And so ever since then they had very little interaction with each other, but Jolene knew that he didn't mess with her at all. That was like, girl, stay away from me, you're a hot mess, you need to get your life together. And he's very much someone who is by the book, does things proper, has a plan, doesn't really scream spontaneity, liveliness, lack of responsibility, all that stuff. And when they first met, that was Jolene. And we kind of find out why and what she was going through and what prompted that, not to excuse her behavior, but the catalyst of it. And that was kind of like her wake-up call, but he didn't know anything. So we start off, there's some tension, and she's like, this isn't gonna be all that great. And they were driving across country, but they were doing it for the people they love, and they were like, they've been there for us, we can stick it out, we can make this work, boom. And the road trip starts off, he has a schedule. He's like, okay, this is when I'm driving, this is when you're driving, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh my gosh, really? Like, this man has our rest stops and everything planned out. And she's not with it. But they end up stopping at a place the first time, or maybe the second time, and it's definitely like sundown town vibes. Both of them are not white. She's black, he's Tongan. I want to say Tongan. I think I'm saying that right, yeah. So clearly very brown, very melanated, and they both got like bad vibes, and she didn't get anything really to eat. And he was like, what's up? She's like, psst, there was a gun. So they decide to stop somewhere else, of course, as a road trip would go, because it has to be eventful. They have car troubles, they get stranded on the side of the road. Finally, they get picked up. They're in this small little town, no one is there. They gotta get a motel. And of course, one of my also favorite tropes, one bed. Ugh. Actually, this is packed with a lot of good tropes, like enemies to lovers or hate to love, friends with benefits, and also the one bed trope. And that's when they kind of like you get the vibe. You kind of can tell, like, okay, like, I'm not trying to ogle, I'm not trying to stare, I'm not trying to look at you as a sex object, but also like, damn, you look good. And as they go along and try to figure out their car issues, and there's like a little mystery up in there, then like, they get a little but protection is key. Practice safe sex. So we didn't get all of it, but we got a nice little steam. They get back to where they're supposed to be, meet their loved ones, and then they kind of go their separate ways. And then we get to the second half of the book, and you see, like, even though they're back in their routine, they're kind of always thinking about each other, and like, oh, should I text them? Because we're kind of friends now. And also, I had your genitals in my mouth. Like, maybe I should. But they want to make it awkward, and they run into each other in a grocery store, and they end up talking and all this stuff, and that leads to them starting their friends with benefits kind of thing, keeping it casual, being like, look, we are grown, we know there's something here, why not explore it? And it's really cute, like the way that their friendship starts to develop, and they get invested in each other's personal lives and things like that, and rooting for them and cheering them on. And I really liked how that played out and was fleshed out. I would say my biggest complaint is toward, what is sunlight doing? It's just like playing peekaboo. But I would say my biggest complaint was towards the end, like towards 80% of the book, Jason does something that is so out of character. It ruins Jolene's life, like sends her personal and professional life into a downward spiral. She has to move, like she's worried about things financially, professionally, and it left a bad taste in my mouth because it was clearly contrived as a plot device to get us to the end, which I get. You don't want to stretch the book out, get too long, because that's a complaint a lot of readers have. But it wasn't really cleared up. Like he was like, I did this thing, and she was like, yeah, all right, no, I've already forgiven you. And no, something that great of a thing should not have been solved like that. And the fact that he even did it didn't follow the character that we had grown to love. And at the same time, she still had some stuff that she needed to work through, and for them to be together. And I don't think we really got that. Like, as the reader, I didn't get that she worked through her stuff or blah, 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 like how they got to their happily ever after. So I wasn't pleased with that. And also circling back to the thing that sent her life down in a spiral, it was something that happened to her professionally. And instead of her being like, I'm gonna fight it, or like this was wrong, she just kind of like, yeah, whatever. And I would have liked to have seen her to fight or to like pursue other avenues with what happened, because she gets fired from her job. Like, that's one of the consequences. She was definitely wrongfully terminated. And instead of just being like, yeah, I'll sign this paper, whatever, like she should have been like, no, I'll wait, blah, blah, blah. Because like, homegirl, she could have got money. And I do know money isn't everything, and sometimes you just want to leave and let go. But we could have had other avenues that felt truer to the characters to get us to our happily ever after. And I would say that's what's my biggest complaint, and that's why I've given this book a 3.5 instead of a full 4. Because that ending definitely like knocked it down for me. And granted, as far as I know, this was the author's first book, so you work through things, you grow, you get to know your characters more, your writing style more, what doesn't work. So this isn't like a 3.5. I hated it so much, I'm never gonna read anything by her ever again. But like, girl, we could have had something else going there. But overall, I enjoyed it. It was very smutty. Like, we had this theme, very playful. I'm always here for a romance that has 2 characters of color, especially with like my favorite tropes and all these typical romance tropes that we see that are normally white or some kind of interracial that involves a white person. I think it's important for us to continue to push the narrative that interracial doesn't mean that there always has to be a white person in the storyline or the main character. So I appreciated that. Yeah, I think this was like very cute. And if like the one bedroom, the enemies to lovers, or friends with benefits, if any of those are like your thing, you would really like this. Just know, like, at the end you're gonna be like, whatever. Yeah, but that's all I have. I think you should read this book. I'm always here for supporting new authors, especially small ones, so get into that. I think she might be independent too. She might be an indie author, so that's another thing. Support your indie authors as well, because they really need the love. And that's all, guys. If you have any other book recs for me, let me know, because I would love to add it to my list that's ever growing, that just keeps growing and growing and growing, that I'm not gonna finish probably ever in my lifetime. But hey, that's what happens when you love books. And I will see you guys next time.